What strikes me at this COP is, of course, every other session is on financing. We heard the latest estimates of climate finance flows, estimated to be $410 billion. However, a figure really stood out. Only $22 billion of these climate finance flows go to adaptation. It's only 5%. So this is a very confronting statistic because behind it you have a growing vulnerability divide. You have a lot of countries that have slowly gone out of poverty and developing, but are being thrown back in poverty because they are facing major flood or drought events or extreme events. And those are exactly the type of countries that we are depriving of financing means to prepare and adapt to the impacts of climate change, a climate change that they didn't even contribute to in the first place. So the $22 billion question, of course, is how do we quickly, close this vulnerability gap and this adaptation gap? So, of course, we know that traditional aid is not going to be enough. We know there's going to be a need for blended financing mechanisms, but none of these investments will really come until you have proper laws, regulations on the ground, and institutions in capacity to really identify and develop bankable projects. And by the way, bankable projects not only in strictly financing terms, but also in broad societal terms, in terms of gender, inclusion, ecosystem benefits, etc. It's basically more and more urgent to pre-invest a lot in making this enabling environment more solid, in investing in the human capacity to develop these projects and bankable projects, and also in repackaging maybe the narrative and the messages and the knowledge around adaptation. For example, we could highlight more explicitly the benefits of action, because we know that highlighting the costs of inaction are not going to be enough, but demonstrating the value of water security in terms of job, economic development, in terms of reduced migration flows, inclusion, etc., are going to be critical. On a personal level, I also was struck by the alternative US delegation here at the COP. Some US senators who made the trip to COP to really pledge their support to the Paris Agreement. And of course, it's a bit ironic that in an era of sometimes alternative facts, it is the alternative delegation of the US who was talking sense. So I really appreciated that.